$1 billion support package has been unveiled to extend health services to Australians at home in the government's latest response to the coronavirus. Live now to Olivia Leeming in Canberra. And Olivia, there's a particular focus on mental health support.
Yeah, the government very concerned that levels of anxiety and depression will increase due to job losses and less social interaction, unveiling a $1.1 billion package to boost counselling and other mental health services, also extending telehealth services. So from tomorrow, Australians who are self-isolating or in formal quarantine, they will be able to ring their GP or specialist from home if their appointment doesn't require a physical checkup. The Prime Minister also announcing more funding to support domestic violence victims, concerns they are now at greater risk with more families forced to stay at home. Also funding for charities to provide emergency food and financial support for those most in need. Here's more from the Prime Minister.
Right now, it's about getting more support to people in the community that need it most, and that's their health care, that's their mental health, that's their protection for vulnerable Australians, and that emergency relief.
We are there for all Australians. Our mental health and our mental well-being is a foundational piece for us to be able to get through this pandemic.
And Olivia, the government is preparing to unveil a third major economic support package.
Yeah, now this will go to the government's Expenditure Review Committee tomorrow, and we're hearing from the Prime Minister today that it will be worth even more than the two relief packages already announced to support those already unemployed or about to be, including wage subsidies, so laid-off workers receive a share of their lost income. As the Health Minister revealed, there's some hope in the latest infection figures, with the rate of increase of coronavirus cases dropping from 25 to 30% a day last week, now to 13 to 15% in recent days. But he says there is still a long way to go.
An early positive sign. We have so much more work to do, but by people isolating, by people being able to social distance, and they are really doing this. Australians are rising magnificently to this challenge, and we want to say thank you.
Now, acknowledging there are still some Australians who are not doing the right thing, a reminder to them that they are putting lives at risk.
Olivia Leeming in Canberra, thank you. Thousands of Australian travellers have returned home and been bussed straight to some of the country's best hotels as part of strict new quarantine rules to limit the spread of the coronavirus. Miley Hogan joins us from Sydney Airport, where almost 3,000 are arriving today, including those on some of the final Qantas flights from key international ports.
Well, this is the new welcome to Australia. People returning from overseas greeted by police and the Defence Force. There is tight security here and strict hygiene measures as every single passenger is screened and then cleared before being placed on a bus. From here, they will be transported to hotels across the city where they will spend the next 14 days in lockdown. It is an unusual sight to witness these strict security measures for ordinary people returning home, but the government believes this is what is necessary to try and slow the spread. We know that the majority of coronavirus cases in Australia are return travellers or can be traced back to them. What do you think of these new measures?
I think it's good.
Was it a surprise to see the army here?
Yeah, just nice to be home.
We're quite concerned that I don't think going onto a bus with other people for an 85-year-old person who's at risk is the right place to be. No. He has his own flat, he could self-isolate, he's 85, he was not going to breach the rules.
3,000 people are due to land at Sydney International Airport today. These strict measures will stay in place until authorities feel they are in control of the spread.
Miley Hogan reporting. Police and the Defence Force have arrived at Fremantle Port in Western Australia, where hundreds of German passengers are preparing to disembark infected cruise ship Artania and be taken to the airport for flights out of WA. 9 passengers from the ship have tested positive to COVID-19 and are being treated in hospital. 3 of them are fighting for life. More than 40 passengers have also shown symptoms, and Perth's private hospitals are preparing to treat them. Meanwhile, 200 Australians are due to arrive in Perth on a Qatar flight rescued from ships off the Italian coasts. Health authorities in Sydney have renewed warnings for people to adhere to social distancing rules. There have been 11 fines now for non-compliance, despite repeated pleas to keep apart.
Maybe it's just they don't get how serious it is. This is really serious, and it could be you, your family, your friends. If you need to get your coffee, get it, and then clear off.
Police are now also reporting instances of hospital theft, with thieves stealing bottles of hand sanitiser. New South Wales now has almost 1,800 cases after 174 new transmissions overnight. The outrage has spread to Victoria, where people have also disobeyed social distancing rules. It comes as the state's death toll rises to 4, with a man in his 80s succumbing to the virus. Chanel Vella reports.
We've all seen the crowds on beaches in New South Wales and Victoria, and we were outraged. But it seems people still aren't getting the message about what exactly social distancing means. This park in Melbourne South was taken over by an exercise group who weren't over the limit in their numbers, but they didn't obey the distancing regulations.
It's those people that are going to make the laws even tougher for all of us. All it takes is for the government to do another stage because of these type of people, and it's a domino effect into the economy and people losing more jobs.
We want people to understand that unless they change their behaviour, they are putting their life and the life of their loved ones at risk.
Overnight in Victoria, a fourth man died from the virus.
That was a gentleman who was in his 80s. The total number of cases overnight is another 84 cases, taking us to a total of 769.
Around 4,400 tests are being carried out every day.
Our frontline healthcare workers are our true heroes. I just want people to remember that our healthcare workers are risking their lives each and every day for you.
There have now been 21 community transmissions across Victoria. 26 people remain in hospital. 4 of them are in intensive care.
Private hospitals have warned state and federal governments they're on the brink of no return following the National Cabinet's order to cancel non-elective surgeries. Australia needs access to the nation's 650 private hospitals to deal with the COVID-19 crisis. They're demanding the government guarantee their survival with 100,000 jobs at risk. Woolworths will increase security and install protection screens at checkouts in new measures to limit the coronavirus spread. From tomorrow, health and emergency workers will have a dedicated community shopping hour on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Seniors and the disabled will now have their community hour from 7 to 8 a.m. each other weekday. Customers should pack their own shopping bags and use tap and go payments. Donald Trump has backed away from a full quarantine of New York City as a hospital ship prepares to deliver much-needed aid. The president is instead considering tougher travel bans as cases rise rapidly. Paul Kadak reports.
Good evening. The Commander-in-Chief was in Norfolk, Virginia today to give a ceremonial send-off to the US Navy hospital ship Comfort, which is headed here to the virus frontline in New York City. On board, 1,000 beds, 1,200 medical personnel, 12 operating theatres. It is ready to assist as soon as it arrives. It is set to dock here in New York City on Monday, and then from Tuesday local time, it'll start accepting non-COVID-19 patients from other hospitals. The idea being that will allow the local hospitals here to concentrate on dealing with coronavirus. Here's what Donald Trump had to say.
This great ship behind me is a 70,000-ton message of hope and solidarity to the incredible people of New York.
Some states have already put their own restrictions on. Florida asking anyone coming from New York to self-quarantine for a couple of weeks, as the United States now has more than 113,000 cases. Around half of those are here in New York State. And with the rate of growth in that at the moment, there is a new case of coronavirus confirmed in New York State about every 10 seconds. There is someone hospitalised with it about every 2 minutes, and someone is dying from it about every 7 minutes. And the peak of this virus outbreak could still be 2 or 3 weeks away.